guys, I'm Steph, your dating and relationship coach for men, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a little Q&A. I feel when I do Q&A, I show more of my personality and I'm less robotic, which is what I often find myself being like in most of these YouTube videos, and I'm sick of it. I wanted to switch to another type of piece of content where I asked you guys what questions you wanted me to answer so that I could make a YouTube video answering those questions. So, number one, how to deal with low self-esteem as a man. Okay, so dealing with low self-esteem has, and I didn't plan these answers, by the way, I'm just trying to let it flow naturally. When it comes to dealing with low self-esteem, first you want to understand where in the areas of your life do you feel like you have low self-esteem. Is it just with women? Is it with your health? Is it when it comes to being happy or thankful for things? Is it related to your finances? Feel like your self-esteem is low because you're not making enough money or as much money as your friends. So once you analyze and assess where that's coming from, it's a lot easier to say, okay, well, here's the area I actually want to work on in order to improve my self-esteem. And if I did have a high self-esteem, what would that look like? So it's analyzing, okay, where is it that I feel the most low self-esteem? If it's with women, then ask yourself, okay, well, if I had the highest self-esteem I could possibly have, I felt great about myself when it comes to women, what would that look like? You know, what would I be doing? What would I talk like? How would I stand? What would I do on a daily basis that's different from what I'm doing now? Because once you get a picture of how you want it to look like, that changes the game, because then you can actually put steps into play that lead you to that end result. Whereas if you just complain like, oh, I have low self-esteem, I don't know what to do, then you're not gonna get anywhere. You're just gonna keep up with the same habits you've had, get the same type of result when it comes to women, and then keep feeling low and carry that low self-esteem with you because nothing is changing. And there's a lot more that goes into this. Please excuse the garbage dumpsters. So like I said, first spend time analyzing it, then spend time focusing on where you want it to be, and then put some actions into play. Like, okay, well, what do I need to change in order to be more like that ideal version of myself with high self-esteem? Number two, how do I approach a woman? Okay, so I put out a lot of content when it comes to this, not only on my Instagram, but there is an early YouTube video that I have on approaching women, and it gives you 3 steps. So go ahead and watch that video, but just remember, when it comes to approaching women, don't get in your head about it. And I know that's easier said than done. Everything is easier said than done. Step back for a minute and think, okay, if I was my most confident version of me, what would that look like right now? You know, if the version of me that's comfortable approaching women, or when was the last time I approached a woman and felt really good about it, what did I do? You know, go back to that scenario, put yourself back in that headspace. Because if you have this fear of approaching women, then you're just gonna keep telling yourself approaching women is scary, it's scary, I don't do it, I'm not good at it. And the more you feed into those beliefs, the more you're gonna show them with women. So start changing your beliefs. Change your beliefs by reflecting back on when you were most confident, not only with women, but just as a man. You know, what did you do in your life that made you feel most confident, and carry that through in your energy before you approach a woman. By carrying it through, all you're simply doing is just looking back on it, remembering it, put yourself in that position, maybe visually for a minute, and then you'll find that approaching women can be a lot easier. And like I said, there's more to it than that. Go ahead and watch that video that I mentioned. I will link it in the description below, and that will help you in terms of approaching from the very beginning. Question number 3, how can I be more courageous as a man? I would really recommend you read any of Brené Brown's books. She is an expert on shame and courage and vulnerability. Those are her 3 major keys. She's really good when it comes to just showing courage and explaining that courage comes with vulnerability. So as a man, you cannot be courageous unless you're vulnerable. And this is where a lot of men forget this, because they just want to be courageous, but they don't want to be vulnerable, because that's weak, but courageous is strong. You know, sometimes you have to show your weakness in order to be strong. That's what makes us strong, right? Like getting through those difficult times makes us a stronger person. You know, showing a side of ourselves that we were so afraid of to show ultimately makes us a mentally stronger person, emotionally stronger person. And women see that, people see that. So the more vulnerable you can be in just being okay with how you approach the way you do it, and knowing whatever outcome comes from her end, you won't be hurt by it. You know, on the surface level, maybe you will for a few minutes or so, but at the end of the day, if she is not interested in you, then that's not the right woman for you. You don't want a woman who's not interested in you, okay? So just remember, when it comes to courage, in order to be more courageous, you have to be more willing to be vulnerable and more open in situations where maybe you want to be on guard, and catch yourself. You know, in these moments when you find that you're trying to protect your ego, or you're trying to be a man so you don't do something because it's not manly enough, catch yourself in these moments, because self-awareness is everything. Because you can't control other people's reactions, you can only control your reaction to their reaction. Question number 4, should we improve strengths or enhance our weaknesses? This is a very interesting question, and I would say both. I think it's really a matter of understanding, you know, what your strengths are and being aware of that. I think a lot of us have trouble recognizing our strengths, and we more so recognize our weaknesses and make those bigger, right? So when it comes to strengths, try to keep more focus on them, making those strengths a part of you, where I feel like most of you men don't carry your strengths with that confidence. So yeah, I do think it's important to be more aware of your strengths and point them out from time to time, a lot more than you're doing right now. But also, when it comes to focusing on weaknesses, the key here is to not focus on your weaknesses, but be aware of them and ask yourself, what's the next step to improve this weakness? If I didn't have this weakness, or if I was a little notch above this weakness, what would be the step to get there? What do I have to do? Because it's very easy to focus in on your weakness and then just stop there and be like, oh, this is a weakness, I suck at it, I'm just not good at that. No, the brain is plastic, okay, so no excuses. You can always learn to reshape and model your behavior based on the knowledge you feed yourself. So if you learn different ways and tactics in order to improve your communication, you can totally do that. And you can become a different person by literally rewiring your brain to be a more effective communicator by practicing new skills and building them into habit. So always know that when it comes to strengths, focus more on them, bring them more into the picture, and acknowledge them. When it comes to weaknesses, don't so much focus on them, but be able to point them out and then say, what is the first step to be a little stronger in this area? What do I have to do? What would it look like? Who is carrying those traits right now that I can model? Next question. How to get a girl to focus less on aesthetics and more on personality? So this is a great question. I love that you guys asked this, because it's showing that you actually care about women who are very much into their looks and how they come across, when you really want them to be more comfortable in their personality as who they are as a woman. And women have a lot of pressure. We get a ton of pressure on body image, as you guys do too, but especially for women, it's just so up and down. It's like, accept your body and love your body, and then on the same cover of the magazine on the other side is, you need to diet, drop those 10 pounds. This is beautiful. We're just like, what the fuck? So it is very misleading, it is very confusing, and to have a man who can put us back in that place of understanding we're beautiful as we are, and we don't have to focus on beauty or perfection or, you know, makeup or outfits and all this stuff, just to show that we're attracted to you, is a really cool thing. So first of all, I just want to acknowledge the person who asked this and pointed this out. I would say point it out in conversation to her, you know, and don't feed into when she brings herself down. So what a lot of insecure women will do, who are very focused on their exterior, will say to men, oh, like, I look like shit today, or I'm so gross. And they're looking for you to say, oh, no, you're not, blah, blah, blah. And that's really not the best way to go, okay? And I know maybe some women may not agree with me here, and I do this too. Like, I am guilty of this, okay? So when it comes to a woman saying that, it's not a matter of feeding into her sympathy for herself and making that focus stronger and showing her that she gets attention when she brings herself down, or she gets positive attention when she brings herself down. You don't want to make that a habit, right? So what you want to do when a woman is bringing herself down based on her looks is really to put her in a place of acknowledging what she loves about herself. So this may seem weird to you guys or foreign, but it's a cool technique and it works. So if a woman was to say something to bring herself down physically, one thing you could say is, what do you love about yourself right now? So then it's not you giving her that positive feedback when she complains and giving her attention in that way, but it's more so reflecting it, just putting it back on her so that she changes her way of thinking. That whenever she has a negative thought about herself, she flips it herself to a positive thought. And that's something that she will really appreciate you for, but at the same time, she won't use you as this machine in order to get back a certain response that she needs to give herself. Does that make sense? That was a lot of like, but anyway, I think that's a good tactic to use. And I also think just ignoring her, not ignoring her, the whole day or something, but whenever she says something like that, just don't respond. It really has to do with the woman you're working with. So for all personalities are different and women may take it a different way, but these are just two tactics that I think put women in a stronger place of trying to figure out their own shit versus you feeding her something that makes her crave attention from you in the wrong way. Then she'll think, oh, when I complain about myself, he pays attention to me. That's not the kind of conditioning we want in our relationships, right? Next question, how to keep a relationship fresh and motivating. I would say, and I always say, this is always my answer to this question, is polarity. So having different lives, having things to do where you're not always seeing each other, and having things that you can tell each other about where the other person wasn't there or doesn't know much about that thing. So, if you play a certain sport or you belong to a certain group or club and your partner doesn't, and you come home and you get to tell her about it, and she's not a part of the group, but she gets to listen when you tell stories about the group or whatnot, because she knows that's a part of your life, but she also gets to be a part of it when you share something with her she doesn't know about you. So it's a really cool way, and for both of you to do this, I think there should always be a you, me, and we. Time spent together and time by yourselves. I think time by yourselves is so essential to keeping a relationship fresh and motivating and fun, because you want to be able to miss each other. Think of relationships in general. It's a push and pull. It's the cat chasing the mouse. Okay? It is a chase. It is somewhat of a game. And I hate, whatever, I'm over it. I don't even hate the phrase using it as a game anymore. I actually just read The Game by Neil Strauss, and I'll probably do a video review on that book. But it really is a chase on both sides. And we have to understand that we're animals and we always want what we can't have or what we miss. So it's important to keep that. It's ingrained in our psyche. It's just who we are as human beings. You're never going to fight it. That's what makes monogamy very difficult, I think, is the fact that people don't have enough. They don't get enough chase. They get bored very easily. And especially with our attention spans today, it's really crazy. So I think the best thing you could do is to have your own things in life that make you, that are not a part of your relationship, do not involve your partner, but you can still share with your partner so that they get interested and they feel happy that you can be happy on your own and you don't need them for everything, every step of the way, every second of the day. You know what I mean? I should make a rap about that. Maybe next time. Last question. Is it a bad idea to have a female best friend? I don't necessarily believe it's a bad idea unless you are attracted to her and you're in a relationship also. That can be conflicting. That can hurt your partner. It can just make everything a little confusing. So I would say if you've never been attracted to her, if you've never had sexual relations with her and your partner's okay with it and feels comfortable with it, then that's fine. But I think most of the time when you do have a female best friend that you've had a sexual past with and then you're in a relationship, I feel like your partner will be uncomfortable the majority of the time. Not all women will. It really depends on your partner. And I think that at the end of the day, if you want a relationship that's stable and trustworthy and comfortable and she feels safe and reassured that you wouldn't cheat on her or hurt her or get back with your best friend, doing things, then it's a safe relationship. But like I said, it's tricky. Everyone is different. Some people are okay with this, some are not. So it's really just having effective communication with your partner and then being able to set boundaries when it comes to your friend and how your partner feels about your friend. Maybe you all hang out together when you hang out and you don't hang out with her alone if you've had a sexual past that she's a little concerned about. So it's really just reading your partner and understanding her so that she feels like she can trust you in order to respect my partner and her feelings and her emotions. Hey guys, that was it. That is the video. Please subscribe to this channel so that every Wednesday you see new videos. Today is Thursday. I'm so upset at myself. I feel like a failure. But I did go to a networking event last night, which I wasn't gonna go to, and then I went, so I'm really happy I did that. Then it was just too late to record. I probably still could have done it if I hustled, but I went to bed because I was tired. But I hope this helped you, and hit the bell notifications so that you're notified every Wednesday. And if you have any other questions for a future Q&A video, please drop them below. I would love to hear them, and I would love to answer them for you. Okay guys, until next week, I'll talk to you soon.